curious minds, welcome to ProjexCellence ProDigy, your one-stop solution for all your project management needs. Today, I'll take your few minutes before we start the session. You might have noticed that since few weeks, I did not post new lesson on my channel. Normally, I do it on every Saturday. Actually, I went to India for a month to see my parents, brothers, sisters, and their families. I'm living in Singapore with my wife and two kids. My son is in AS grade, which is class 11th, and my daughter is in class 7th. In December, the kids have their school holidays, and I also have the lesser workload towards the year end. So we go India and spend a quality time with parents and families. So that was the reason the posting was paused for a while, but don't worry, now it will be continued. Today, we are diving into an exciting topic, the earned value management, a powerful technique for measuring the project progress and performance. Let's get started. Earned value management, EVM, is a project management technique used to assess project performance and progress in terms of cost and schedule. It combines three key elements: scope, schedule, and cost into a single integrated system to give project managers insight into project performance and help them forecast future project performance. In this lesson, we will break down key terms as planned value PV, earned value EV, and actual cost AC. We will explore metrics like budget at completion BAC and estimate at completion EAC, which forecast the total cost at project completion. We will also touch on estimate to complete ETC and variance at completion VAC, indicating whether we expect to come in under or over budget. Performance indices like cost performance index CPI and schedule performance index SPI help us measure the cost and schedule efficiency. And we will explain key variances like cost variance CV and schedule variance SV, and tackle to complete performance index TCPI, which tells us the efficiency needed to stay on budget moving forward. So let's get started. Planned value PV. Planned value is the budgeted cost for the work scheduled to be done by a certain date. It represents the value of the work that should have been completed according to the project plan. If we see this graph here, this is the planned value curve, the middle one, or the cost baseline, or S curve. We spoke about it in our previous episode, the cost baseline. Let's say our 20 megawatt solar power plant project has a total budget of $2 million BAC, and the plan is to complete 50% of the installation in the first 3 months. So by the end of 3 months, the planned value would be $1 million, 50% of $2 million, which is the budget allocated for the work expected to be done by this stage at this point. Earned value EV. Earned value is the budgeted amount for the actual work that has been completed by a certain date. It shows the value of the work actually performed. Here we can see the curve, earned value curve is here. Suppose at the end of 3 months, instead of 50%, which we planned, only 40% of the solar power plant installation work is done. So the budgeted cost for this work was how much? 40% of total budget, $800,000. So this earned value EV of 800,000 represents the work that has been completed in budgeted terms. Actual cost AC. Actual cost is the total cost incurred for the work performed by a certain date. It represents the actual expenditure on the project. Here we can see the actual cost curve. By the end of 3 months period, the project has spent $1.1 million to complete the 40% of the work. This actual cost of $1.1 million is the actual money spent so far on the project, which is higher than the planned cost PV, which is $1 million. Budget at completion, BAC. BAC is the total budget that was originally planned for the project. It's the target or goal budget for completing the entire project. We can see here. For our 20 megawatt solar power plant project, the planned budget from the start was $2 million. So the BAC is $2 million. Next term is estimate at completion, EAC. EAC is the forecasted total cost of the project based on current progress. It gives an updated estimate of what the entire project will cost by the time it's finished. So it's all based on the actual cost. Let's say due to some unexpected expenses, we realize that project will likely cost more than planned. We can see here our AC is higher than the PV. So based on current spending trends, AC, we can estimate the EAC, estimate at completion. It can be calculated as BAC divided by CPI. BAC budget at completion and CPI is the cost performance index, and we will calculate this in next slide. So only thing we have to assume that CPI has to be remain same for the remaining project, or we can say that spending trend has to be remain same as current spending. So EAC allows the project managers to adjust expectations and make budget corrections if needed. It's an early warning if the project is expected to go over or under the initial budget. Estimate to complete, ETC. ETC is the estimate cost needed to finish the remaining work on the project. It's the amount of money that will be needed from this point forward to reach project completion. So this is ETC. So ETC we can calculate by this formula EAC minus AC. So ETC helps the project team know how much more budget is required from the current point to complete the project. Variance at completion, VAC. VAC is the difference between the original budget BAC and the forecasted budget at completion EAC. It shows if there is a surplus or deficit in the budget at the project's end. So VAC is equal to BAC minus EAC, BAC minus EAC. In our example, the original project budget BAC was $2 million. But now we realize that our cost will be going up. We have calculated the EAC already by dividing BAC with CPI. A negative VAC indicates that the project is likely to exceed the original budget, while a positive VAC would mean we are under the budget. Cost variance, CV. Cost variance is the difference between the earned value EV and the actual cost AC of the work performed. So CV is equal to EV minus AC. If we get the positive CV, it will indicate that the project is under budget, means we have spent less than the planned value for the achieved work. If CV is negative, so it will indicate that the project is over budget, means we have spent more than the planned for the achieved work. In our project here, EV is 800,000 and AC actual cost is $1.1 million. Then CV is equal to EB minus AC. So 800,000 minus $1.1 million, which comes minus $300,000. Means the project is $300,000 over budget. Schedule variance. Schedule variance is the difference between the earned value EV and the planned value PV. SV is equal to EV minus PV. So again the same case, if we get the positive SV, so it will indicate that the project is ahead of schedule. Means we have completed more work than planned. If our SV is negative, it will indicate that the project is behind schedule. Means we have completed less work than planned. So here we have EB 800,000 and our PB was $1 million. So SB will be 800 minus $1 million. So it comes minus $200,000. So what it means? It means the project is $200,000 behind schedule. Cost Performance Index CPI. CPI is an efficiency indicator that shows how well a project is managing its budget. It represents the ratio of earned value EV to actual cost AC. So we can calculate CPI EV divided by AC. And if we get CPI greater than 1, so it means the project is under budget. And if CPI is less than 1, it means the project is over budget. So here in our case, EV is 800,000 and AC is $1.1 million. Then CPI is equal to EV divided by AC. So 800,000 divided by $1.1 million, which comes around 0.727, which is lesser than 1, means project is over budget. Schedule Performance Index SPI. SPI measures the efficiency of time utilization, showing how well the project is meeting its schedule. So it is the ratio of earned value EV to planned value PV. SPI is equal to EV divided by PV. The same case, if SPI is greater than 1, the project is ahead of schedule. And if SPI is less than 1, the project is behind schedule. So in our case, EV is equal to 800,000 and PB is $1 million. So 800,000 divided by 1 million comes 0.8, which is less than 1, means the project is behind schedule. To complete performance index TCPI. TCPI is a predictive indicator that shows the cost performance required to complete the project within a specified budget or estimate. It calculates the efficiency needed for the remaining work to meet the project's budget goals. So there are two versions of TCPI based on the project situation. So if we calculate based on BAC, so TCPI formula is BAC minus EV whole divided by BAC minus AC. And based on estimate at completion EAC, so TCPI is equal to BAC minus EV divided by EAC minus AC. The interpretation is if TCPI we are getting higher than 1, so means higher efficiency is required to achieve the target. And if TCPI is lesser than 1, so lower efficiency is needed, means the target can easily achieved. So in our case here, EV is 800,000, planned value PV is $1 million, AC actual cost is $1.1 million, BAC budget at completion is $2 million, and EAC will be BAC divided by CPI, and our CPI is 0.727. So we can calculate EAC here $2 million divided by 0.727. So which comes around 2.7 million. Now, if we calculate TCPI based on BAC using this formula, so it is coming around 1.33, which indicates more effort is needed to stay within the original budget. And if we calculate TCPI based on EAC using this formula, so it is coming around 0.73, which suggests the project can be completed with current or slightly lower performance levels to meet the revised budget. That's all for now. Please support the channel by liking and subscribing. Your engagement means a lot to me. Namaste. Goodbye. Sampai jumpa.